Since the beginning of his work, Hollywood legend Robert Redford, who is best known for his roles in the movies Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, has kept his personal life very private. He has chosen, however, to talk about the woman who has been the love of his life since he was 18. Who was the best love of his life? And how did their relationship change the way he lived? Today we are going to talk about Robert Redford's honest statement. During his more than 60-year career, Robert Redford has had a huge impact on how the movie business has grown. Besides being an actress, he started the Sundance Film Festival and has also worked as a director, producer, and head of production. In addition to the things he has done in his career, Redford's life has been shaped by deep relationships and personal events that have helped him become the person he is today. If you don't already know Robert Redford, he was born and raised in Los Angeles. He was often in trouble as a teenager because he was not afraid to stand up for himself. A high school gang member and a crazy person, he was well known for these things. This included taking beer without permission so they could go to all-night drinking parties. Redford has said that he was upset and didn't know what to do during those years because he didn't know what the future held for him. Even though Redford was known to cause trouble, his mother, Martha Hart, was always there for him and gave him stability. Her mother saw that her son had promise and encouraged him to make good changes in his life. A lot of times, Redford has said that he thinks her love and support were very important in shaping his journey. They had faith in each other, which gave him the confidence to choose a different path. This led to his successful career in the entertainment business. What do you think? Things did not change right away in Redford's life. There were many problems he had to deal with. One of the worst was losing his mother when he was only 18. Martha Hart, his mother, died when she was 40 years old. She had a bleed in 1955 because of a blood disease which eventually killed her. 10 years after Redford was born, she lost her twin girls at birth, which was a terrible event that led to the development of this disease. There have been many times when Redford has talked about how deeply this tragedy affected him. He had times when he didn't believe in his own skills, but his mother always loved and believed in him. She was someone who always thought he could do great things. She was very important in helping him change the aggressive behavior he had as a child and find a way to move on to a better future. Because she died at such a young age, he felt heartbroken and like life wasn't fair to her. Redford said that his mother's determination to start a family was truly amazing, even though she had to deal with a lot of tough problems along the way. Following a difficult pregnancy and delivery, during which she gave birth to Redford, doctors told her not to have any more children. They told her that the fact that she was pregnant again could put her life in danger. Hart, on the other hand, wanted to start a big, loving family. She decided to take the chance, which led to her getting pregnant again. No matter what risks might be involved, in a sad turn of events, this move made her health worse, which in turn caused her death. On a deep level, Redford felt that his mother's death was not fair. The brave things she did and the things she gave up for her family impressed him. Not only did her death leave him emotionally empty, but it also made him think about how strong and determined she was. Martha Hart couldn't get to see her son. During his time as an actor, director, and humanitarian, Robert became famous all over the world and is now one of the most famous people in Hollywood history. Redford, on the other hand, thinks that her views and influence continue to guide him. Her unwavering support and unwavering faith in his abilities, even after she had died, gave him the base he needed to go after his goals. Among the glitz and sparkle that Hollywood is known for, people who like Robert Redford have always been interested in his personal life. Even though he is popular and successful, there is still one question. Who was the one person who truly captured his heart his whole life? To answer this question, we need to look into the important connections that shaped Redford's life, especially in the years after his mother Martha Hart died. In a terrible accident when Redford was only 18, his mother died, leaving him with a deep sense of loss and doubt. In the middle of all this sadness, he found peace and hope while spending time with Lola Van Wagenen, a young Mormon woman who would become his first love. They met at the University of Colorado and became fast and close friends. Lola came into Redford's life at a time when he really needed both security and kindness. She gave him both. They got married in 1958, when Redford was only 22 years old. After giving it some thought, Redford admitted that there were many good reasons for him to get married so young. Even though he admitted that he did it because he thought it would help him stay alive at the time. While Redford was going through a lot of pain and chaos after his mother died, Lola helped him find a way out. It was Lola who gave him the chance to rebuild his life with love and purpose. There is a respectful and thankful tone to the way Redford has always talked about Lola and the role she played in his life. Not only was she his first love, but she also gave him strength and security at a time in his life when he really needed it. Without a doubt, Lola Van Wagenen was an important person in Robert Redford's life his whole life. Because she was there for him when he was still trying to figure out who he was, she played a big role in his growth into the person he would become. It was while they were married that Redford's career took off. He went on to become one of the biggest movie stars in Hollywood. After getting married, Redford and Lola were able to have 4 kids, who became the most important thing in their lives. As they were celebrating the birth of their first child, Scott Anthony, in 1959, they were struck a terrible blow when Scott died suddenly 2 months later from SIDS. When the young couple lost their loved one, it was a devastating blow. However, it also brought them closer together as they counted on each other for strength. A new source of happiness came into their lives in 1960 when their daughter Shauna Jean was born. Following in her father's path, she became an accomplished artist as she grew older. 10 years later, in 1970, Amy Hart, their youngest daughter, was born. Additionally, Amy went down a creative path and found that she liked playing and directing. They had 2 sons. James was their second son. He was born in 1962. The event took place in the middle of their line of girls. Because his father loved both making movies and telling stories, James, who was lovingly called Jamie, picked up on both these interests. But because he stood up for what he thought was right, he became a campaigner and a filmmaker. In particular, worries about health and the environment. When James, who was 58 years old at the time of his death, died in October 2020, it was another terrible loss for the Redford family. He struggled with liver disease for a big part of his life, and in the end, liver cancer killed him. He was dedicated to action and making movies, which were both things his father believed in. This made a strong bond between the two of them. The connection between Lola Van Wagenen and Robert Redford was one of love and devotion. But there were also times when things went wrong. Over the course of their marriage, things got more and more tense, especially as Redford's acting career took off and he became famous. The demands of his new job, the duties of his family, and the stress of public attention made it harder and harder for the two to stay on the same path they were on. They finally drifted apart because of these problems and the fact that their personal and business goals were different. In 1985, which caused them to get a divorce. The couple had been married for a total of 27 years before they decided to split up. During an interview with The Telegraph in 2001, Redford talked about why they decided to get a divorce. He said that both sides had to make the choice. According to him, their relationship had been under a lot of stress over the years because of his rising fame in Hollywood. According to Redford, he had planned to question the idea that Hollywood marriages are at best short-lived. In his statement, Redford said that he didn't want to become just another sad Hollywood breakup statistic, which he thought was pretty likely to happen. Even though he wanted to show that a marriage could last despite the challenges of fame, he was unable to do so in the end. Even though their marriage was over, Redford and Lola were able to part ways on good terms. Even though they are no longer together, Redford has continued to talk positively about their relationship, pointing out how much love and respect they had for each other. They were both very dedicated to taking care of their 4 kids. Shauna, Amy, James, and their memories of Scott when they were together would not be affected by being apart. Because they both put a lot of value on family, they were able to keep their friendship friendly and helpful after the divorce. It was for the sake of their children that Redford admitted that they were able to handle the change. During their talk, Redford told her that he thought their relationship was great, and that they should be praised for how they handled things. Especially because their kids were successful in spite of everything. Robert Redford rekindled his relationship with Sybil Saggers, a talented painter and artist who had a deep love for nature, after his marriage to Lola Van Wagenen ended. There was something surprising and endearing about how they became friends, showing that Redford can connect with people who aren't connected to his fame. Redford met Sybil Saggers for the first time at his Sundance Mountain Resort in Utah in 1996 in that year. When Saggers got to the resort, she only planned to go skiing. She had no idea that she would soon be meeting one of the most famous stars in Hollywood. Back then, she didn't know much about Redford or the movies he had directed. One time, Saggers talked about this event during a panel discussion at the Young Arts Salon in 2014. She talked about how unprepared she felt when Redford asked her and some friends to dinner. The reason Saggers rented a few of Redford's movies quickly before the meal was because he was afraid that Redford would bring up his job while they were talking. She admitted that she had only watched 15 minutes of each movie over the course of 2 nights so that she would be able to say something about them if they came up. On the other hand, Redford never talked about his job as an actor, which made her feel both at ease and interested. There have been many times when Robert Redford has talked about how his relationship with Sybil Saggers was different from the start. One of the many things that made their friendship unique was Saggers, because they didn't know much about his work and accomplishments. Saggers greeted Bruce Redford like he was any other person, which is different from most people who might be amazed by Redford's fame. Redford seemed to be deeply affected by this real bond. At first, he and Sybil Saggers just met and interacted as normal people, without any fame or success affecting their friendship. Redford thought the start of their relationship was great because it was just 2 people meeting and acting like people. For Redford, it was nice that things had changed because they could work on their relationship without the stress of fame or the public's demands. After being together for more than 10 years, Redford and Saggers decided to get married. Their wedding was small and private, and it happened in July 2009 at the beautiful Louis C. Jacob Hotel in Hamburg, Germany, which is where Saggers is from. The fact that they only went to a party because they were invited showed that they wanted to keep their private lives out of the public eye, instead focusing on how much they love each other and the trip they are taking together. Sybil Saggers is an important and helpful person in Robert Redford's life. She has a unique point of view that goes well with his own hobbies and passions. Redford believes that Saggers' deep love for art and culture is one of the most important things that sets her apart from other people. Redford can relate to her ability to learn and her drive to make things. Since he was a child, he has been interested in making art. The fact that both people share the same view on how important art is in their lives makes their relationship stronger and allows them to support each other in their personal and work goals. He has been a professional visual artist for more than 40 years and is very good at what he does. This artist shows her love for nature and the environment through many different types of art, such as oil painting, photography, and performance art. A lot of the time, her paintings show that she has a deep relationship with nature and wants to do something about environmental problems. With her art, Saggers has been able to make a message about how important it is to protect the environment. All over the world, her art has been shown in many different shows, including well-known places in the US, Monaco, Peru, Singapore, and Japan, among others. This fame around the world not only draws attention to her skills, but it also, as well as how dedicated she is to her job. She has become a well-known person in the art world because of her ability to express herself through art while also caring about the environment. Sybil Saggers is more than just an artist, she is a complex person. In addition, she is Robert Redford's partner and helps him out. In addition to his job as an actor, director, and environmental activist, she pushes him to do art for fun, which includes the work he does in these areas. What Redford has said about having someone like Saggers in his life is that it is very important to him. Someone who knows the difficulties of being creative and how important it is to stay true to their artistic vision. She helps him in a way that lets him focus on his art while still keeping a balanced and happy personal life. Before he became the famous actor and director he is now, Robert Redford really wanted to work in the arts. In fact, he liked drawing and sketching more than acting when he was younger. In the 18 months he spent in Paris, he engaged himself in the art world, even before he became famous. During his time there, he would often draw on streets and make chalk paintings for money, which showed how dedicated he was to becoming an artist long before he became famous.